So anyway, go ahead, Tracy. Sorry.
So, Thais, you mean to tell me that the holy, God fearing United States of America went back on their word? I'm having a hard time believing this because anytime America says something, we're always good for it. I mean, sure, we got to this country and the pilgrims massacred the indigenous people, but I mean, they were in the way. They were simply in the way. And sure, we went
That's
to a whole
that's not
continent.
what I was. That's not what I was told.
Um,
I was told
and
that they
sure,
came over here and had the first Thanksgiving and
yeah,
they
but
worked
yeah, that's
together and
it.
it was
But then
oh
the
my
Native
god.
American, yeah, you're right. The indigenous people betrayed them, so that they had to kill them. And
Um,
then we went down to Africa and kidnapped the engineers, the architects, the teachers, the people that wrote the first language, brought them over here, of course, all against their will, then made it hard for us to own houses. I cannot believe that America, not America, if you had said Canada, if you had said Mexico, if you had said France, I would have believed it. But not the United States of America. No way do I believe this. No way.
Yeah, and that's exactly the noise that happens in some people's heads when you go at it, like because they think, well, we were taught, we all wore the little paper hats and pretended to be pilgrims. Boy, I hate that my parents were not educated in this enough to know not to let their black child play no damn pilgrim in elementary school. But we did that, right? And it's like, and we the had Thanksgiving dinner. Didn't say that as a consequence of Thanksgiving dinner, it was really a ruse by the Europeans to, pass out more disease-ridden blankets and murder more people. Um, and then Pocahontas story that they make seem so nice, as opposed to the rape of a minor. So it's like there's a lot of things that they give us a version. Everything is cleaned up and put together for the purpose of propaganda. And I'm saying propaganda in its just its most pure form, right? Because it's neither good nor bad. Every major nation involves itself in propaganda. If it didn't involve itself in propaganda and try to build up a national identity and national love and zeal for your nation, then they'd be taken over by everybody and anybody around them because there would be no attachment to this thing, right? So every nation does whatever. But it's the importance is that shouldn't be happening in the unchecked way that it does, right? So you're not giving people their history so that they can make informed decisions. You're giving them fairy tales so that they can be attached to something emotionally. And I get it. Emotion is the best way to sell something, and that's why they do it. And I do want to say a couple things. So whatever your faith walk is, to everybody out there, it's your faith walk. I just encourage everyone to always challenge what you believe so that you understand it in its fullness and not just the pieces you want to. Religion itself has been weaponized since the beginning. So it wasn't all. So there's always been the faithful, and then there've been the faithless. Both take the faith and use it. Okay. So with slavery, that right there was greenlit by the Pope. They had to get permission from the Pope before they went to the Ivory Coast and started kidnapping Africans. And then you'll hear from the racists and the racialists and the bigots. Well, weren't the Africans selling their own people? Didn't the Africans have slavery? There's slavery all around the world. There's always been slavery. Yes, there's always been slavery in the world. But the European chattel slavery was an entirely new invention as far as how slavery was done. See, typically slavery is done within groups. Europeans enslaved Europeans, Africans enslaved Africans, all those things. But there were pathways out. You were enslaved for a certain period of time,
And a
and
debt.
then you were released. You had to take on certain skills and fulfill certain purposes, and then you release. Right? It it was not your property. And then if you have a child, that child is also my property. And I'm not sure where it is in the Bible, but that's in there, right? Where the child of the mother and the mother of the child and everybody they tied to the woman. And but that I don't know if that was an edited piece because people would play games with the text to justify what they wanted to justify. But the spirit of the faith says one thing, but the practice says something different. So I just want to point that out so people don't just think that people just randomly were going to Africa and taking people. Pope said go get them from over here, and that's where they went to go get them.
I'm still having a hard time believing that a country as righteous and pure as the United States of America would say to somebody that looks like me, hey, we're going to make it hard for you to get a loan. Then just tap the little bank on his hand and say, poo, you got to pay a fine. And then they don't get their charter stripped from them. But hey,